So you set a goal, right? You're all fired up, you're excited, you can already imagine what that success feels like. But then a few weeks go by and that fire is gone. The goal becomes just this distant memory. Look, we've all been there. But what if the real reason your goals fail has absolutely nothing to do with your motivation or your discipline or even the goal itself? Let's get into it. Think about it. We're always told to dream big, set these massive, ambitious goals, and just go for it with everything we've got. But that creates a huge paradox, doesn't it? If having a big, ambitious goal was the secret, then pretty much everyone with a dream would succeed. And we all know that's just not how it works. So the real question we need to be asking is, what's the actual difference between the people who make it and those who don't? And this quote from James Clear just hits the nail on the head. It's so true. Every single athlete in the Olympics wants to win the gold medal. Every person applying for a job wants to get it. The goal itself isn't what separates them. So, if the goal isn't the key ingredient for success, it means we've been looking at this whole thing completely backwards. All right, so let's talk about what I call the goal setting trap. We're going to peel back the layers here and look at why the very way we're taught to set goals might actually be setting us up for failure from the start. Here's the bottom line. The issue isn't having a goal. Of course not. The issue is having a goals-first mentality. It's when we get so obsessed with crossing that finish line that we totally forget to think about the road we need to take to get there. And this obsession, it creates some very specific, very real problems. Okay, so this really breaks it all down. On one side, you have that goals-first mindset. What does that get you? Well, first, it's just a momentary change. It's like cleaning your messy room once, but not changing the habits that made it messy in the first place. You also end up restricting your happiness, telling yourself, I'll only be happy when I reach the goal. And finally, you get this crazy yo-yo effect, where your motivation just evaporates the second you achieve the goal. But now look at the other side, a systems-first approach. Here, you can feel successful anytime your system is running. It's not about one single moment of victory. It's about continuous, endless improvement. The big shift here is moving your focus from the trophy to the practice itself. And that brings us to the big idea, the main event. If fixating on goals is the problem, then what's the solution? Well, it's all about focusing on your systems over your goals. This one concept can completely change how you think about making progress in your life. I want you to think about it like a boat. Your goal, that's the rudder. It's absolutely crucial, right? It sets your direction. It tells you exactly where you're trying to go. Without a rudder, you're just drifting aimlessly. But here's the thing about a rudder. It doesn't actually make the boat move. The thing that actually creates progress, the engine, that's your system. The system is the oars in the water. It's the process you follow, the habits you build, the actual work you do day in and day out. See, you can point that rudder perfectly at your destination, but if you're not rowing, you are going absolutely nowhere. Your goals point the way, your systems are what get you there. And this quote from the legendary coach Bill Walsh just sums up the whole philosophy perfectly. He knew that if his team just focused on executing every single play in practice, day after day, if they perfected their system, then the scoreboard on game day would, well, take care of itself. If you build a solid system, the results you want will naturally follow. The lesson is to fall in love with the practice, not the prize. But building a great system isn't just about what you do on the outside. It actually starts on the inside. You have to build a really powerful internal foundation. You need the right kind of mindset to stick with that system, especially when things inevitably get tough. And according to researchers, it really comes down to 3 psychological traits that are just crucial for any kind of long-term success. And here's the best part. You're not just born with these things. Anyone can develop them. They are a growth mindset, grit, and psychological flexibility. So first up is the growth mindset. This is the simple belief that your abilities aren't set in stone. They can be developed. Someone with this mindset doesn't look at failure as a final verdict. They see it as data. A project that didn't work out isn't proof that you're a failure. No way. It's just feedback. It's a chance to learn something, adapt, and do it better next time. Next up, we have grit. Researcher Angela Duckworth calls it stamina. It's that powerful mix of passion and perseverance for your long-term goals. It's seeing life as a marathon, not a sprint. Grit is that internal engine that keeps you rowing your boat day after day, even when you're tired, bored, or just not feeling it. And finally, psychological flexibility. This is all about your ability to pivot when things don't go according to plan. So imagine you plan to hit the gym, but you get stuck in a massive traffic jam. A rigid mindset says, oh well, guess I can't work out today. But a flexible mindset says, okay, plan A is a bust, time for plan B. I'll just do a 20-minute workout at home. It means you're committed to the process, but you're flexible about how you get it done. Your mindset is the fuel for your system. Okay, so we've got the big idea, systems over goals. We've got the mindset for success. Now, let's get down to brass tacks. How do you actually build a system that's going to stick? This is your action plan. Instead of just writing down a goal, you need to answer 3 really critical questions. First, why does this actually matter to you? You've got to connect it to something deeper. Second, what specific repeatable behaviors are you going to commit to? Not something vague like eat healthier, but I will eat a salad for lunch every weekday. And third, and this is maybe the most important, what is going to get in your way? That last question is a total game changer because you have to plan for your obstacles, especially the ones inside your own head. Feeling tired or stressed or unmotivated. So you create what's called an if-then plan. You decide ahead of time how you're going to respond. For example, if I feel too tired to do my full workout, then I will stretch for just 5 minutes. That way, when the feeling hits, you don't have to rely on willpower. You just follow the plan you already made for yourself. And you can give your system a serious boost with 2 amazing techniques. First, there's habit stacking. This is where you link a new habit you want to build to one you already have. Like, after I pour my morning coffee, I will meditate for 1 minute. The coffee becomes the trigger for meditating. Second is choice architecture. This just means designing your environment to make the right choices easier. Leave your running shoes right by the front door. Hide the junk food way up on a high shelf. You're basically engineering your worlds to help you win. It's all about having a concrete plan. So where does this all lead? It all comes together in one final, crucial takeaway. It's about a deep, fundamental shift in where you find your satisfaction. It's about committing to the process. Here's the real insight. The whole point of setting a goal is to win the game, right? But the point of building a system is to keep playing the game. True success, the kind that lasts, isn't about that one moment of victory. It's about falling in love with the process itself, the daily practice, the tiny adjustments, the cycle of always getting a little bit better. When you can find real joy in the act of rowing, the destination almost becomes a bonus. Look, this is not about telling you to throw away your ambitions, not at all. It's about challenging you to focus your energy where it truly makes a difference, on building a daily system of actions that will, almost inevitably, lead you to where you want to go. The rudder is important, but it's the rowing that will get you across the ocean. So the question I want to leave you with is this. What process can you commit to and maybe even start to fall in love with, starting today? If this breakdown helped you see things in a new way, make sure you subscribe. We're always sharing more explainers like this one, turning big ideas into strategies you can actually use to build a better you. Thanks for tuning in.